It is September 16, 2004. I'm 17, and we are under a hurricane watch. There's an impending Category 4 hurricane. It is already raining heavily, and the roof and windows are shaking violently because of the strength of the winds. To distract myself from what was taking place, I decided that I was going to write a song. Now, I had been an aspiring musician and I had been writing music for over a year. It would usually take me a few days or even a few weeks to complete one song. And as I began writing, it felt as if the weather conditions worsened. But after a while, the noise started to fade into the background. And I became so focused and concentrated on what I was doing. It felt as if time slowed all the way down. And I didn't allow anything to distract me. After what felt like 45 minutes, I looked up and I recognized that it was 2 hours that I had been writing for. But I was even more amazed because when I looked down, I saw that I had completed this song. I had wrote 3 verses and a chorus. Now remember, it would take me a few days and sometimes weeks to complete one song. But on this occasion, I was able to complete this song in 2 hours. That hurricane was known as Hurricane Ivan, and it caused billions of dollars in destruction in the Caribbean and the United States. However, the lesson that I learned was that with focused attention and the pushing away of distractions, you could produce some of your best work and you could complete it in a far shorter time frame than you would usually do. That is what it means to be in a state of flow. In this video, I'm going to break down what it means to be in a state of flow. What are the benefits of being in a flow state? And how can you trigger a flow state that will benefit you? I am Kanu. I'm a neurotransformational coach. I work one-on-one with others to help them overcome limiting beliefs and thoughts so that they can live a life that is much more purposeful and fulfilling. I'm also a military vet. I served in the Army for a decade and a half. So, shall we proceed with today's video? Now, what does it mean to be in a state of flow? A state of flow is also called being in the zone. And when you're in the zone, you are hyper focused. You are concentrated on that task that you are completing. You are not allowing any distractions to throw you off. So if you're a person who cannot stay off of your phone for an extended period of time, then you are not going to experience flow. And you're also going to lose out on the benefits of being flow. If you're a multitasker, multitasking is also an enemy to being in the state of flow. But when you're in a state of flow, you often produce your best. And when you are at your best, you produce work with ease. The work feels almost effortless. And on many occasions, it is usually your best work. Now let's look at the benefits of being in a flow state. Hey friend, I want to take this moment to honor your decision to consume content that can improve your life. I know that you can be anywhere, but you chose to be here. And for that, I appreciate you. And if I knew you, I know that you are someone who has dreams and goals that you want to achieve. But life experiences seem to get in the way. Maybe it's childhood trauma or limiting beliefs? If that is the case, I want to extend an invitation to you. Let's have a one-on-one consultation and let's see if neurotransformational coaching is a fit for you. If it isn't, then I honor your journey and I support you. If it is, then send me an email at PurposeDevelopmentAcademy@gmail.com. It would be an honor to be the guide at your side as you pursue your dreams, your goals, and your desires and live a fulfilling and impactful life. I look forward to meeting you. Now let's get back to today's video. One of the benefits of being in a flow state is productivity. And with productivity, you have enhanced problem solving. With enhanced problem solving, you are able to look at a problem from multiple angles. And when you are able to look at a problem from different angles, you tend to come up with very innovative solutions. There's also heightened focus. With heightened focus, you are able to make connections with things that may seem vastly different. And you are also able to explore new ideas without distractions. And thirdly, you are also able to access the subconscious. The subconscious is that pool of information that we all have access to. It is where that light bulb moment or that eureka moment, or sometimes known as that aha moment, comes up. This is where you may not have been exposed to a particular line of thinking or idea, and you come up with this novel idea. Many scientists, such as Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, and the list goes on, were able to produce some of their best inventions or come up with some of the most amazing ideas as a result of accessing their subconscious. Another benefit of the flow state is increased productivity. With increased productivity, there is enhanced skill development. This allows you to learn faster, as well as it is beneficial for long-term growth. There's also deep work. Deep work allows you to overcome distractions and immerse yourself in the task, which prevents switching, moving from one thing to the other. And this significantly reduces the wasting of time. And thirdly, there is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is motivation from within. Intrinsic motivation makes work much more enjoyable. This is a motivation that is focused primarily on the process of completing the task and less on the external results or motivation. It comes from within, and it helps you to keep productive over a longer period of time. And thirdly, being in flow adds to your life satisfaction. When you're doing work that is truly enjoyable, there's a reduction in stress and anxiety. And that is because being in a flow state helps to silence that inner critic. So you worry less about the outcome and you experience a deep sense of peace. Being in flow also boosts your confidence. When you are aware that you can complete a task, your confidence grows. You become much more aware of your self-efficacy, of your ability to depend on yourself. And this leads to personal development in other areas of your life. And thirdly, being in a flow state adds to meaning and purpose in your life. When you're working on a task or you're completing work that is in alignment with your values and your life goals, life feels much more meaningful, and there is a greater sense of joy and happiness in what you do. And that is because you are fulfilling a psychological need, and that is a psychological need of self-expression and mastery. Now let's get into some triggers of a flow state. One of these triggers is passion. When you are excited and enthusiastic about the work that you are doing, there's an emotional connection, and this passion triggers intrinsic motivation, and you feel much more capable to embrace challenges. Another trigger is purpose. When you're working on a task that is in alignment with who you are, with your life goals, your actions become much more meaningful, and you are better able and capable to eliminate distraction, and it also provides a sense of direction for your life. Another trigger is creativity, and this is creativity in any area that suits you. This could be singing, songwriting, as in my case. It could be cooking. It could be hiking. In creativity, there's usually problem solving and self-expression, and this increases your motivation. Fourthly, add urgency. Remember that deadline that you have to work with? Add urgency, and now you have another trigger for the flow state. And fifth is focus. Without focus, one cannot achieve the flow state. This is the equation to achieve flow. Add these 5 triggers to any task, and you are almost certain to experience a state of flow. Now let's look at the practical way in which you can achieve a state of flow. When you're performing a task and you want to achieve that flow state, you want to be in a state of flow, you don't want that task to be too difficult. If it is too difficult, it may cause fear and anxiety, and instead of performing that task, you may shy away from it. You also don't want it to be too easy. If it is too easy, then you run the risk of getting bored. So what you want to do is find a middle ground. This is where you want to be, somewhere in between difficulty and ease. But a critical element is the skill. Your skill must match the challenge. Take my example with the songwriting. I had been writing songs for over a year, so my skill level was good. There was a challenge. The challenge was to write a song. Previously, it would take me days or weeks to complete one song. But because I had the skill and I knew the challenge, I was able to get into a state of flow. So in the ideal sense, your skill level should match the level of the challenge. And that is how you can get into a state of flow and accomplish any task that you set out to achieve. Now that we are preparing to land the plane, let's take a look back on what we have covered. We looked at what is a state of flow. It is also called being in the zone. It is where you are so focused that you are not allowing any distraction to take you off your path. And you can produce some of your best work while you're in a state of flow. And you are also able to complete work in a shorter frame of time. There are also the benefits of being in flow. There is increased productivity, increased creativity, as well as life satisfaction. And some of the triggers to get into a state of flow are passion, purpose, creativity, urgency, and focus. And in a practical sense, you don't want that task to be too difficult, but you also don't want it to be too easy. You want your skill level to match the level of difficulty. I hope that you find this video valuable. And if you do, check out this video on belief systems. You will find the information just as beneficial.